Welcome to the world of zip system building enclosures, where we believe in striving for optimal air, water, and thermal management, no matter the region or climate. Because when you have the right products to do the right job the right way, the first time, you're building to a higher code, the zip code.
I'm Jake Bruton, and today on the Build Show, I'm going to talk about a tool I didn't think we wanted or needed or would use, and how aging carpenters actually changed my mind on the topic. Let's do it now. Okay, before we talk about the specific tool that we're going to discuss today, I want to talk to you about a trip that I took with the manufacturer Sega. They took us to Switzerland a couple summers ago, and I want to talk to you about one of the most impactful things that we saw or heard while we were there. During this trip, a handful of people that you might know from the internet in our industry were asked to go to Switzerland. We saw Sega's manufacturing, but then we toured kind of just a handful of construction sites, and we talked about how they do things there. The goal of the trip for myself was to learn different methods of construction and to understand what I didn't know about how the rest of the world works when it comes to building homes or buildings. And one of the most impactful things that we did was we went to a trade school in Bern, Switzerland, that was for I think they told us like basically 10th, 11th, 12th grade. That the goal of this trade school was to help you find a job and to pull an internship while you were finishing your last year and a half, and then set you up for a career in the trades. It is similar to some trade schools here. I would say that they have as with much of Europe, they have a much more tradition-based formal education system when it comes to what are you going to do for a living. And in this case, the most important thing that I took away from that trade school was they discussed the aging population of the workforce in Switzerland that built buildings and how they were making an active push, kind of as an industry in Switzerland, to make things heavier. And that absolutely blew my mind, that we would try to make things heavier, because I grew up working with my dad and Jim and Paul and Mike, and they would say, you can pick up more than that, you can carry more than that, you can do this, quit being a weenie about it. And it was we are men and we are strong and we can do everything. And all of those guys that I just mentioned walk slightly like this or moan when they go from sitting to standing, and they never took care of their bodies. They never stretched. They never chose the smart way to lift something. They were the equipment. We didn't have equipment. They were the equipment. And in Switzerland, by making things heavier, their goal is all of the parts and pieces of the building that you're going to use are heavy enough that you don't attempt to lift them, where it's beyond that point where you go, oh, if we just put 2 more people on it, we can carry it around back and we can get it in that opening or whatever it is. It's the idea of, okay, well, this is too heavy for us to move, so what piece of equipment do we need to bring onto the site, or do we need to turn on the crane that we have on site? We need to find a way to not be lifting the heavy things. And while we haven't made a huge push in our company, we have attempted to move in that direction, not from a can we make it heavier so we can't pick it up standpoint, but from a what tool can we use to make this easier. So when I got back from Switzerland, one of the things that we initially started doing was we quit having 15 people on sites to receive deliveries of European triple glazed windows. We immediately went to, let's have a bobcat with forks and a crane with suction cups on site, and let's stop trying to manhandle these, for a lack of a better term, muscle these things into place. It's not the correct way to do it. Yes, we've done it that way in the past. It's worked, but it is not what we want. And it's not good for the product most of the time either, the idea that multiple people are straining to handle something. So let's talk about the product that Door Studs sent us. I'm going to be honest. I did not think that this would work. I did not think that we would use it. And I thought, man, why did they bother sending this to me? this is hokey and this is dumb. And I have to admit that I was wrong completely. First and foremost, I thought, okay, I'm going to give this to Caleb with Osborne Carpentry, our carpenter that does a lot of our trim and millwork stuff. And I was like, in fact, he did the kitchen behind me. I said, we'll just give this to Caleb and we'll shoot a quick video about it, and we'll do that as a thank you for Door Stud for sending us the parts. And then when I started looking at it, I was like, I don't even want to make this video because I don't think this product's going to work. And then we brought them to the site and we started playing with them. I actually put the edge of a pallet in it at my house and moved them around in the garage so that I could make sure that I understood how it worked. And I was wrong. And even worse, I keep looking down here at the door studs. I got to the job site and showed them to Caleb, and Caleb was like, yeah, I have the bigger ones for bigger and taller doors and exterior doors and everything. Okay, so again, I really didn't think we were going to use these, and I was like disappointed that I was going to have to make a video about them, because we try so hard for everything that we make a video about to be something that I wish I would have learned sooner, or that I wish that someone would have told me, or that I think is like this unique piece of knowledge. And I thought, well, people know about this tool. I'm not going to say anything unique. I'm probably not going to say anything unique, but let's talk about how we're using them on this site. We have, it's called Door Stud. This is the new version. Your slab slides in here. This cam lock locks everything in place. And now you have basically a skateboard that will carry your door around. And this elevation change between where the door sits and where the wheels are at like a fulcrum point is enough for it to keep like a very large, very heavy door standing vertically, and you can move it around the site with one person by yourself. In fact, Caleb has an exterior slab that needs to go. This was a dunnage slab from our supplier because our real slab was not in place yet. He's clipped onto it. He's tightened everything down. He's set to the right height, and then he can pull the hinges and drag the thing away, and then he's going to roll the other one in. The thing that I didn't think about is, the advertising that I've seen with this product is exactly this. Here's the door. It's sitting. One guy moved it into place. One crew member moved it into place and can now put the screws in the hinge. I don't generally end up setting doors like that. We don't generally set doors like that. We end up getting things in the frame that are either on a jamb already or on an exterior jamb already, where all we're doing is racking the whole thing into the opening, checking the reveals, and fastening things down. So that product doesn't really matter. However, when I walked in this morning, we have a slab on its side because Caleb was using these just to move it around the room. So instead of running up high and potentially hitting a weird beam that we have above my head, he's got it down on the side, and now he's moved it around the room without it being a big deal. He's done all the prep on the hinges, as if we used to have those A-frame sawhorses to hold things like that. And now we have transportation of the slab and install of the slab in a way that 10 years ago, when I was the one wearing my tool bags every single day, I would have been doing one of these before I started moving these doors around. So I think that tools like Door Stud, and Door Stud obviously, are going to become more and more prevalent in our industry. And I think the idea of we can man up and we can do this without having to complain and all go home sore and complain about how hard it was to our spouses, I think that should be a thing of the past. I think that we should take the time to take care of our carpentry teams, to take care of our teams, and think about things like this that can make life easier, that can make life simpler, and that can relieve the strain on our bodies. Because in the long run, our hope is that our industry continues to grow and not shrink, and we are able to bring younger folks into the industry. And one way that we can do that is make the work not as backbreaking, not as difficult on your body, and a little more thoughtful, we might say. So, a product I didn't think that I was going to like, that I actually do quite like. A product I didn't think I was going to make a video about. They did send us these, but I'm happy they sent them to us. And I would tell you if I was not, and they would probably be mad at me, but it worked out great in their favor in this instance. So till next time, think about what you're doing, think about why you're doing it, and think about what you might be able to do to encourage other people to find enjoyment or fulfillment in what you're doing and how that might affect their back. Till next time, thanks for watching. I'm Jake Bruden.